opportunity to connect with some of you for our international students here on campus, as well as share about international support for you. So thank you for taking the time to connect with us virtually. And again, congratulations. You've done a lot of hard work this year, and thank you again for being here. So I would love to introduce our panelists. So if you could share your name, your year, hometown, your major, and department, and maybe 2 or 3 activities you're involved with here on campus. So let's get started with Renata.
Well, hi, everyone. My name is Renata, but feel free to call me Rena or Rena. I'm a freshman here at Hamilton College. I'm a perspective, creative writing, and cinema media studies double major. I come all the way from Chile, more specifically Santiago, and outside of the classroom, I'm involved in the track and field team, and I'm also a student docent at the Welling Museum of Art.
Thank you, Reina. And Yassine?
Hi, everyone. My name is Yassine. I'm a senior here at Hamilton. I come all the way from Tunisia. I double major in econ and computer science, and outside the classroom, I happen to run with Reina as well on the track and field team. I'm also involved in a lot of research, especially in the econ department.
Thank you. And Benike, I would love if you could introduce yourself as well.
Sure. Good morning, everyone, and welcome to Hamilton College. My name is Dr. Benike Odegbami. I am the Director of International Student Services here at Hamilton College.
All right. Well, thank you all. And behind the scenes, I have my colleague, Caitlin Oliver, who also works with us in admission as well as diversity recruitment here. She will be answering questions for Q&A, so you can add those to the chat. And we also saw that some came in overnight when you registered for the event, so we've included those today. But if you have any questions, please feel free to put them live in the Q&A and we will answer them here. And if you get disconnected, don't worry, you can rejoin through the Zoom link that we sent out. So let's get started. I'm going to start with Benike, and if you could share a bit more about what is your role of your office and how are you helping support international students here on campus?
Sure. As the Director of International Student Services here at Hamilton College, my role is to oversee and ensure the holistic support and success of our international student population. So I'm responsible for providing guidance and resources related to immigration compliance, cultural adjustment, academic integration, and personal development. I have a team, and my team and I work closely with other campus departments to create an inclusive and welcoming environment that fosters a sense of belonging for international students. I also support international students by offering a range of services, including orientation programs, visa advising, immigration workshops. We also provide ongoing support through individual counseling and advocacy, liaise with faculty and staff to address any academic or personal challenges. We organize cultural events and activities that promote cross-cultural understanding and engagement with the campus community. So my role involves staying informed about changing immigration policies, ensuring that students receive accurate and timely information to maintain their status in the U.S., and I'm dedicated to developing programs and initiatives that enhance the international student experience and prepare them for a globalized world.
Thank you, PK. All right, so I'm seeing we're getting a lot of questions in the chat already. So let's start with some of travel questions. So Reina and Yassine, what did it look like when you were traveling to Hamilton for the first time? How did you get here? What were those pieces like? So you can share with us.
It was a long journey from home. I personally came with my parents, so we actually rented a car and drove to Clinton. But I do know about many people who coordinated transportation from Syracuse to campus through the International Students Office. It was really fun getting to Clinton. It was discovering this whole new world, and it was personally a journey that I very much enjoyed. And I wouldn't be too worried about how you're going to get from Syracuse to Clinton, because the International Student Services just arranges all of those things for you and makes it really easy and just like very fast, or just like simple for you to get to campus where which you should be.
Yassine, how has your travel been here for getting to and from campus from home?
For me, I think my experience is pretty extreme. I came in the dark ages of COVID. Uh, but for me, it was pretty simple. I arrived in Syracuse, and long before that, I coordinated with the transportation services here at Hamilton. So they picked me up all the way from Syracuse Airport and brought me to campus, which is usually the case. But if you're landing somewhere, say like a big city like New York or Boston, there's also a lot of buses that usually go all the way up to Utica, which is the big city here next to campus. And then from there, it's pretty simple to bring people from Utica to campus.
Thank you. And when you both arrived on campus, how was the orientation process like? Let's dive right into that one.
I loved the orientation process. We arrived on campus like 3 or 4 days before domestic students, and we had like an international orientation before regular orientation, which was really, really fun. You get to meet people from all over, and just overall learn about how your experience is going to be here at Hamilton. After international orientation, Hamilton has orientation trips. I don't know the specifics of them, but you have many, many trips to choose from. I personally went canoeing for a couple of days with a group of students, and it was really, really fun. And then you get back to campus and you have 1 or 2 days of a more formal orientation. And I'd say it's a great introduction to Hamilton and what your experience here will look like in the future.
And Yassine, what was your orientation? I know a little different experience for you, but that first year experience, maybe an orientation if you would like to share.
Yeah, so usually orientation, I think for internationals, the international orientation, and I got to lead one of them early on. Um, it's basically you get to meet all your international friends. So you get together, and just that first couple of days of getting to see each other, getting to know each other. Um, it's always helpful to have a couple of familiar faces the first day on campus. And then the actual orientation, that's really the fun part, because I've seen people that have been friends or like been in the same friend group ever since their first orientation. And it's usually a couple of trips where right now actually on campus we're in the process of choosing who's going to lead next year's trip, so you'll see those people hopefully. And basically it's either a hiking adventure or a volunteering adventure. There's really all kinds of trips, and it's usually like the first highlight that people talk about all throughout their first year. So I'm really excited for you guys to experience that.
Yeah, seeing all of the students move to campus for orientation is so exciting. And then one of my favorite pieces of international orientation is the welcome dinner. It's so great to sit with and meet everybody and just have a really nice celebration before the rest of the freshmen move in. Let's get a bit more into our academics. So I know you both shared what you're studying. So at Hamilton with the open curriculum, how has that navigation process been for you? Raina, in your first year, meeting with advisors, and Yassine now getting ready to graduate, how has this journey been for both of you?
I'd say it's been pretty fascinating. There's so many courses to choose from at Hamilton. There's courses in things that you wouldn't even imagine that are really, really fun and interesting. Of course, you want to craft a sort of plan to follow through, not just as a freshman, but as a student. And that's when advisors come in handy. And they offer advice, of course, about what classes you should take, but also, they will give you the tools to choose maybe courses that just interest you because they're fun and because you feel curious about them, which I feel is a really amazing thing about Hamilton, is that you can just take classes because they interest you and because they look fun and you just want to get into them. I've had the opportunity to take courses in a number of different departments just my first year, and it's been a great experience. It's really, really fun. And also the courses and departments I'm interested in majoring in are also really interesting as well. So yeah, it's been a great experience overall, just choosing the classes I want, and in those classes actually being helpful for my major as well.
Thank you. Yassine?
Yeah, so the open curriculum, it's really been fun. I've taken, for someone who majored in computer science and econ, I've taken way too many government classes. But basically early on you're assigned advisors. At first it can be any of the professors you're taking classes with, but as you decide what you want to concentrate in and what you really want to focus on, you're moved to advisors that are your concentration advisors. So these are the people that are going to make sure you're taking the right classes at the right time and make sure you're fulfilling all the requirements for your concentrations. But in terms of the open curriculum, it's really fun because even when you're taking, specific classes that you need, there's at least one or two a semester where it's a free class. You take whatever you want. And we've seen people get, so like, they would focus on their concentrations, but then on the other hand, they're taking all kinds of fun and artistic and thought-provoking classes. And to this semester, I'm still taking, this is my first semester of taking dance classes, and it's been really eye-opening. So yeah, I think it's definitely, the open curriculum is something to celebrate. It's definitely it's not stressful. It really isn't. It's very easy to navigate once you're here.
Thank you. So we're getting a lot of questions about employment and internship and research opportunities on campus. So Benike, I'd like to start with you of asking, how does Hamilton support international students with internships, research, on-campus employment? How can students start this process if they're looking for those with your office?
Sure. There are a lot of opportunities on campus for international students to engage in their first year. Just as a note, they cannot work off campus their first year anyway, so on campus is the best option for them if they're looking for work. We support them by encouraging them to visit the career office so they can know how to put a resume together, how to interview for a position. And then I strongly encourage networking. A lot of jobs on campus require networking and being open. This is not a time to be shy or intimidated. And I'll use Renata as an example, that she came here open-minded and from day one, from orientation, was open to making friends. And I see her smiling all the time, even when things are, can be stressful at times. She positions herself in a way that when you say the name, we know who that is. That's how she just made a presence. So my office will help in encouraging students to network. You network with your faculty members, your upperclassmen, your fellow freshmen. They may have an outgoing personality, so that they can tell you about jobs on campus, because not all jobs on campus are posted. We have a platform where we post jobs, and sometimes you can check with human resources. But most of jobs that students get on campus are because they network with faculty members or departments that they know. And it can be anybody on campus. It doesn't just have to be my office. And I really encourage students to network also outside my office. So you get to know people and they'll be able to tell you if they have openings on campus. So once you get a job on campus, then the next step would be to visit my office, and not to overwhelm you with that. We'll cover that in orientation on what the next step is so that you can legally work on campus. But in terms of getting the job, I strongly encourage networking.
And Raina and Yassine, what have each of your experiences been working with the Career Services Center and thinking about your future and career development at Hamilton? Let's start with Yassine.
Yeah, so I've had all kinds of employment experiences at Hamilton. I've worked on campus during the semesters, all kinds of jobs, tutoring, desk jobs. And then I've had the opportunity to do 2 summers of research with the computer science department. So that was pretty fun. And then I pivoted to focus on more finance type of things, and the Career Center really helped me. And I want to echo what Dr. Bonique said in terms of networking. The most helpful thing about the Hamilton Career Center is the access to the network that they have. And we have a network called Hamilton Connect, where basically it's linked in with only Hamilton students and alums. And because of that, I got an internship last summer in finance, which thankfully translated into a job offer for post-graduation. So, and honestly, it was I credit Hamilton for all of that, because if it wasn't for the connections, like Dr. Bonica said, it was all about reaching out, putting there, and yeah, I would say Hamilton College has the opportunity to basically support each student on an individual level. Um, I've worked with people from maybe bigger schools or state schools where the advice they get and the support they get is kind of generic. Everyone gets access to the same resources, and there's the sheer number of people is just too big. Here at Hamilton, when I set up an appointment with my career advisor, it's a one-on-one, and the career advisor remembers the last time we talked. They know exactly what I'm doing and at what stages of the job search I'm at. So, and then on the research front, I've had friends who went all in on research, and you can see how Hamilton supports you in that way. Where I've had people who are maybe bio majors or chemistry majors, where they started research on campus, and then very quickly they leverage that to get research at other institutions. A friend of mine did neuro research here on campus, and then last summer did neuro research at Johns Hopkins, and now is getting a job post graduation at Rutgers, working in a lab there. So you can see how Hamilton could be basically the stepping stone for your career.
Thank you, Yassine. And Raina, I know as a first year, maybe looking to your future here at Hamilton.
Yeah, I'm a freshman, so no internship for me this summer. But I do know there are plenty of opportunities for students who want to do something on campus during the summer. I had a conversation with my cinema media studies professor a while ago, and he was like, if you want to do research with me, I'm open. Like, let's do research this summer. Personally, I wanted to go back home for the summer this year, so not this time, but there are plenty of opportunities on campus for students of, I'd say, all class years to get involved in their fields of interest, which is really fun. There are also many funding opportunities. So if you get an internship that doesn't pay, you can apply for funding from Hamilton, and that way make that experience easier, and just be able to fund that opportunity that you may not be able to participate in if it were otherwise.
Now, you both mentioned a bit about summer, and you're saying you've done summer research. So for international students, summer break and the winter holiday, what are our international students doing? And Dr. Benike, if you could also share a little bit more about what the international students can expect during those breaks.
You want me to go first?
Yeah, we'll start with you. Sorry.
Okay. Okay, no problem. For summer and winter breaks, typically students are not here. I'll start with summer. Summer, students are on campus if they have an employment on campus, like you're doing research with a faculty member, you're working with a department, something, a job on campus that gives you at least 35 hours of work a week. So again, I'm going to go back to networking. In order to do that, I suggest networking from day one. You get to know people, you'll hear about opportunities that come up in the summer. And it's not just research. You can work in offices that need help during the summer, maybe planning for fall. My office usually will hire 2 to 4 students over the summer to work 35 hours just to prepare for orientation for the next incoming class. So for your class, I'm hiring 4 people now to help in the summer to plan for the experience you're gonna have in August when you come for orientation. So again, networking is extremely important if you want to stay on campus, but you don't have to stay on campus. If you network appropriately, you can either, especially if you're first year, you network appropriately, you can have an experience somewhere. You can't work off campus, but you can choose that time to go back home to spend time with family. Maybe you have family in the US, or gather with some friends, and you guys plan an experience for yourself, go to Florida, go somewhere warm, and have a good time for the summer. The same thing applies for winter break. Now, the winter break, the campus is closed. So students do not stay on campus for winter break. That's time for you to either go back home again, spend time with family, or cultivate an experience with some other students that are not going home. Maybe they're staying here in the US. Maybe 2 or 3 of you get together, you get a place, go to the city, go to different states, go to bigger cities, because Clinton is very small, like very, very small. So go to a bigger city together, that way you can save money. So you start saving money when you come here so that you plan for your winter break, because I stress again, winter break, students do not stay on campus because campus is closed. It gives staff an opportunity to spend time with their family since we're working all year long. So we don't get a summer break as staff. So winter break is a time for us to get away and go spend time with our family. So there's no services on campus. So we strongly encourage you to start that planning early.
And Reina and Yassine, what have your, I guess, Reina, what did your winter break look like, winter holiday this year look like?
I went back home for winter break, but I did spend spring break here, and I spent most of it working at the museum, which was really fun. It was a good experience. It was good to also make that side money while actually on break. And then with a group of friends, we went to New York City, which was really fun. So I'd say, building on what Dr. Benike said, you can stay on campus, but you have many friends that come from very many fun places. Take that opportunity, go to their homes, plan a trip to a bigger city, and have fun.
And Yassine, what have some of your breaks looked like over the years?
I had all kinds of breaks. I had breaks usually. I had winter breaks where I went home, but usually I've always had something unplanned on my breaks. I think it honestly does speak to the community where from year one until now, I've always been like invited to someone's house for Thanksgiving or Christmas. And to have people share that with you and with those moments with their families with you was very special to me. Yeah, I think every break I can think of, I've had something with like friends. We either like went back to their places or went on a trip, like Dr. Bonica said. Sometimes if you have to stay during like some of the shorter breaks, I've had a lot of people stay and work some of the athletic events that we had. That was also a great way to just pass time and make some money. But I think mostly it's been just plans that come up just by knowing people and being around people.
Yeah, thank you. So when you arrived on campus and you started meeting students here and getting acclimated to a new environment, was there anything surprising about Hamilton when either of you arrived, whether it was the student body, culture, the location, anything that just surprised you getting here?
I'd say something that surprised me. So it's a minor thing, but it was a really great surprise was my dorm room. I live in Dunham and I have what we call a split double, which means it's a room with a wall and a door in the middle of it. So I was expecting your typical college dorm, and then I opened the door and it was basically a single, which was really nice. I love my roommate. Her name is Erin. We get along perfectly, but I do feel like that wall and that extra privacy has been really good for us. And it's been great because I never expected to have such a convenient living situation my freshman year of college.
And you seen?
For me, it'd definitely be the campus. I saw pictures of the campus, but I never really visited. And walking campus, there are definitely days where I'm walking campus and I look and I think, this is a really beautiful campus. Um, and I've had the chance to see a lot of other colleges during my time here, and not every campus is like the Hamilton campus. It's a short walk across campus. I'd say like 10, 15 minutes to walk from one end to the other. And it's really beautiful. If it's snowing or if it's really nice outside, it still like has its charm. And for me, that's definitely something I didn't expect. I thought all campuses would be sort of, in the middle of a city with a lot of like public transportation, but it's really a walking and biking kind of campus.
Now you mentioned snow. How cold does it get here?
It gets cold. It gets cold, but honestly, not as the last couple of years were not as like cold. It was more so like snow every once in a while. But I would definitely say compared to my first year, the winters have been less and less brutal. Um, but yeah, there's always a chance of snow. Right now it's April and there's a bit of snow outside. But we're looking at very good weather next week, so fingers crossed for that. But yeah, there's snow, and the campus is built to have snow, so it's never really an issue. By the time you wake up and you're walking around campus, it's all cleared. You don't even notice it. Um, you just got to be prepared in terms of winter gear, and honestly, anywhere you're going in the Northeast, you're gonna need winter gear. So it's really not that special in that way, but you definitely have to brace for some snow.
And then as you guys got here, were there any essential items that you needed from home or anything that you forgot when you moved here? Like, what would you advise our admitted students to maybe bring or think about?
I remember forgetting my hairbrush and just like when I was walking outside on my home, just seeing my hairbrush just laying there in my bathroom, and I just ignored it. I was like, I won't need a hairbrush. I don't know why I thought that. Which meant of course I needed to buy one here. I wouldn't say I forgot anything of bigger importance. I feel like I did plan my packing very well. I started packing very early. But if you do forget something, just know that you can purchase it here. The International Student Services organizes trips to malls and supermarkets so you can get all that you need. I'd say specifically with like winter clothing, it is better to get it here because better winter clothing, you'll find better winter clothing here where winters are actually very cold, but not that cold. um but I do recommend bringing maybe something that reminds you from home. It might be a photograph or a teddy bear or just like a small memento of of your country, because it's nice to sometimes have that small object that just like reminds you of home.
I would definitely say, yeah, I definitely echo the get your winter clothes here, because my winter clothes from Tunisia didn't really work well here. They were they got beat by the elements. But I definitely suggest bringing any sort of decoration. You know, walking in your first year, your room, you know, is gonna look a little barren. And I think bringing stuff from home that sort of has that, you know, connection to back home, but also makes it feel more cozy. If you're attached to your pillow, I think it's worth it. Um, but yeah, honestly, the good thing that we've been doing is that early on, the international student services, like Rena said, um, we will go on trips and make sure you get everything you need. And honestly, all of that is covered in international student orientation. So overall, I think there isn't really much that is like essential. Everything we can figure it out here.
Thank you. And Dr. Bennigan, do you have anything that you would share that students should maybe think about bringing?
Yeah, I agree with the students that bring something that reminds you of home. Being away thousands and thousands of miles away from home can sometimes create a sense of homesickness. And it just feels good to have something that you had at home that you bring here. This year, I mean, last year we did mementos for students to take back to their room, which is their picture, and it had their flag on it, and they can just display that in their room. So, like, if you bring a teddy bear, a pillow, or something, anything that reminds you of home, snacks from home, something that you can just that you can use as comfort. And you'll be arriving in August, which is a bit warm, but I'll also say just kind of plan for going shopping for winter gear and not waiting until winter time to buy them. Things tend to be cheaper when the weather, cold weather gear tends to be cheaper when it's hot outside. But if you wait till it's cold, now you're suffering from extreme cold, especially if you're from a country that does not experience cold. Uh, I know Renata said, "Oh, it's not that bad." I think you got used to it, because it's cold. It's cold in Central New York, so you want to at least plan ahead that even if you don't bring it now, just plan ahead and get yourself ready. That you know what you're gonna have to start buying winter gear. Maybe around starting in September, October, I'll start encouraging you to start investing in that, to start buying your gear. But for homesickness, which will happen, bring something from home that can comfort you.
Great advice. So when we're thinking of our student body that you guys have all experienced and kind of built community with for Reina and Yassine, how open-minded would you say the community is from our students and professors and your experience here?
This is a liberal arts college, so I'd say everyone is pretty open-minded. Of course, you find people with different beliefs from each other, but that's just part of like the beauty of having such a liberal campus, is that there are many people with different political ideas, as well as different beliefs on different matters. I feel like yeah, it's a very diverse campus, and you will encounter people with ideas you may not agree with, but that just makes it like a better place to engage in debate and discussion, which is something that I feel like enriches college campus, definitely.
Yeah, I would say the campus is pretty open-minded. The students are some of the brightest in the country, and they're the same way we're prepared to meet people that are not like us, they're also prepared to meet us when they come to campus. So and even the domestic student body is so diverse, and we got people from all kinds of backgrounds. So for me, it was, even though it was a small school, but it was the experience you would expect from any sort of college when it comes to internationals. It's that they're seamlessly integrated into the community, but also they still maintain some of that, some of those things that make them special. But when it comes to classroom discussions, or when it comes to any academic matters, I think international students fit in perfectly. And I've seen it firsthand in class where my perspectives bring a lot of insight to some of the things we discuss. And then with professors as well, where sometimes it's a very like simple example. I've had a government professor that was doing research on the Middle East, and she had all these videos that she needed to study. And what other way to have an international student who speaks Arabic be able to translate those videos and like put them into context. So yeah, I think international students fit in quite well here on campus.
Have there been any international events that have been some of your particular favorites that you look forward to?
Everything that the ICA plans is usually very, very fun. They have carnivals, and they had a gala a while ago, which was really, really fun. We got to dress up and just like dance with a group of international students. And I'd say that's really nice. The ICA does a great job getting international students to just have fun. Dr. Renike as well plans many events that are really interesting as well. So there are a lot of like fun, more informal instances for us to get together. And you also get bigger events like the gala, to just, maybe dress up and have a more like fancy interaction with your friends. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely all those things. For me, graduating soon, one thing I'm really looking forward to is so international students, we sort of have our own graduation as well before the big event. And we have our own class speaker. And for me, that's something I'm very excited about. Um, and I think we also get our flags on our graduation gown, and that's pretty exciting. So for me, definitely looking forward to sort of capping off these 4 years with our own graduation event.
Yeah, Dr. Benike puts on some wonderful events, and the food is always great. I will say that. And how has your experience with the food been on campus for all of you?
I'd say the experience with food is what you make it. There are many, many options. We have McEwen, we have Commons, we have Diner. And all three of them serve different kinds of food. So it is easy to get lost in all the food options that are on campus. But once you get settled and start getting to know the different food options that each dining hall serves, I think you're able to find those like safe foods, those things that feel more like home. Of course, dining hall food will not compare to your mom's cooking. Like it's it's sad, but it's true. But you can definitely find meals that feel right, that feel good, that feel delicious. You just have to look for them.
Yeah, definitely Rena got it right on the on-campus food. Off-campus food, I think this area has a lot of food. There's still places that I'm hearing about, especially in the Utica and New Hartford area, which are like the town and city next to us, that there are places I still hear about that I've never tried before. So, if you're a kind of person who wants to eat out or wants to try different cuisines, there's actually a surprisingly good selection of restaurants around campus as well. So if that's your thing, it's there.
There's definitely a lot of cuisine nearby, but as Raina said, the dining hall does not make up for mom's cooking at home. But so transitioning a little bit, we've had a few questions about academics and stress at Hamilton. So Hamilton does provide counseling services, and we do have a health center here as well. And there's a lot of wellness programs for students. But I wanted to know if you're comfortable sharing, how has balancing the stress and academics been for you? Are there different things you seek out on campus to get through that? Have your peers been a support? Dr. Benike and other advisors? So.
I'd say my first semester was pretty stressful. I was just getting used to college life and like the college rhythm of things. And yeah, there were some points in which I was very, very stressed. But I did seek out for help. The school does have therapy sessions open for students. They have in-person as well as online therapy sessions, and those are pretty helpful. Your friends as well can be a great support, and I'd say also your parents. Don't forget that you might be in college thousands of miles away, but you can always call them back home. And personally, calling my parents every time I'm a bit overwhelmed has been a great, great help. And I do feel like maybe the academic burden can sometimes feel like a bit too much, but personally, I always get my 8 hours of sleep. I always go to practice after class every day. And I always have time to do the things that I love and that I do, not because of any particular academic reason, which I feel like it's really nice. It is an academically rigorous school, so schoolwork will be in the center of your life. But if you balance it correctly, you'll have time to watch that TV series you love by the end of the day, or maybe go to a club meeting or an event, or just like take a nap every once in a while as well. I do feel like students here do have time, do have free time on their hands to just do what they like.
I definitely think that's true. In my experience, I found that international students here, they sort of they come with a lot of experience and a lot of capacity to handle work, and sometimes they try to overwork themselves or try to overwhelm themselves. It's definitely an adjustment. So coming here, you have to understand that it's a whole experience. It's not just about the classroom. So the more you get used to it, the more you realize there's actually plenty of time if you plan correctly, do your work and hang out with your friends or do something fun, because that's the fundamental like goal of this experience. Being here, you're not just here to be in class. And you'll soon find out a big chunk of campus are athletes, student athletes. So you have a lot of people who every day have at least 2-3 hours blocked away for sports, and they still find time to do their work and find time to have fun. So honestly, I wouldn't stress it. You get used to it very quickly, and the resources are plentiful. You have, uh, like Rena said, the counseling center, which I had experiences with, and it was really, really helpful. You have academic resources. You have centers where you have tutors, language tutors. Um, there's also the oral communication tutors that help you with your presentations. So it's really, they got you covered. Even when it's stressful, there's always some resources to reach out to. So I wouldn't really stress that as much.
Dr. Benike, are there any other resources that you would want to share and point out to students that are available that weren't covered?
Sure. I'll point out that I acknowledge that using the counseling center can be challenging for international students in particular, because that's not a norm for most students from other countries. But we have a way to support students that may need the therapy or counseling. In my building, we have an extra room for students that don't want to walk all the way to the counseling center to seek help. Thank God COVID has shown us that we can do things virtually now. So students can bring their laptop, be in that room. We have a noise counseling machine here, so nobody can hear what you're saying, and then you can connect to someone in the counseling office. That way, it takes away the stigma of you walking into the counseling center. Because I know I want to acknowledge that culturally for some students, that's not an easy thing to do. So we have that. And we have a lot of resources. My office partners with a lot of departments on campus to provide support for students whenever they need it.
Thank you. It's all really important stuff for your time at Hamilton. And as you have all mentioned, it's not just about the classroom, shaping your social life and building your community outside. So what are students doing on weekends? Where do you guys find yourselves filling that extra time?
This semester we're in season track and field. So most weekends we either stay here and have a home meet or travel to other schools to compete, which is really fun. It's a great experience. We've been to plenty different places because of track. There are many sports events happening during the weekends as well. You have hockey games, basketball games, volleyball games, lacrosse games as well. There are also many events organized by students at Sado, which is like the student center that encompass different activities from like drinking boba to a movie night, which are really fun. People, of course, also do their schoolwork during the weekends and get a bit ahead of their classes. You can find many people doing many different things. During the winter, some people go alpine skiing, Nordic skiing as well. Some people go skating. Some people go down to Clinton and get something to drink at Utica Coffee or just go shopping to Walmart. The opportunities are endless. There are many things to do. Of course, if you sit in your room and don't talk to anyone, you'll probably not do anything. So it's I'd say I strongly recommend to interact with your friends and just come up with something fun to do.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that. Once you sort of insert yourself in the community, and it can be just your roommates, it can be the people that live right next to your neighbors. Slowly, plans start being made, and you start being invited to participate in those plans. There's all kinds of things. There's also all the clubs, so things we haven't touched on, like there's so many clubs on campus. It's like 100 something, and they have their own fair every semester or year, I think. And they have, they talk about what they're doing, and they get some new members. The clubs are really fun. There's always some events, music events, video games, movies, whatever it is. There's a lot of aside from the actual varsity athletics, there's intramural athletics that's pretty fun. So people make their own teams and compete. So like for example, for me, I have a intramural volleyball team, so we play on Sundays every weekend, which is pretty fun. But yeah, also the social scene is what you'd expect from a small school. There's these like little pockets of like things you can do, clubs. There's also all kinds of communities on campus, including Greek life communities. And from experience, have seen no difference between an international and non-international student joining these organizations. So once you're here, I think it's whatever you want to do and whatever you want to make of it. Being an international doesn't really change much. So if that's your thing, you can also opt for that kind of experience as well.
So we have a ton of clubs and organizations, from cultural and affinity groups to political groups, different arts and performing groups. There really is so much here. And if there are things that you want to share with the community and start your own club, we make that pretty easy too. We want our students experiencing and learning from each other. What is still on your Hamilton bucket list? And Yassine, I know as you're getting ready to leave, what is maybe something you thought of that you haven't done yet, is still there, or have you completed everything?
For me, it definitely, as soon as the weather gets nicer, which I think it should be in a couple of weeks, uh, go hiking. I've, I've been that big of a hiker. That's not really something we did back home, but the area around the campus is simply gorgeous. So we have, we have the glens on campus, which they're like beautiful to walk, but also if you drive a couple of hours away, we're surrounded by the Adirondacks, and it's like this like huge mountain chain, and it's really beautiful. So on my bucket list is to hike as much as possible. Um, and if you look at it this way, being on this campus, a lot of people end up going back to metropolitan areas, New York City, Boston, whatever it is. And it's definitely something you're not going to find somewhere else. So for me, hiking is definitely on my bucket list.
And Raina, anything on your bucket list still?
Yeah, I think adding to that, I really want to go Nordic skiing. You can do that on campus, and you can rent skis for $8, which is like ridiculously cheap. And you can just have that on campus, which is great. I would also like the students' activity board sometimes organizes trips to New York City, to Broadway, to different locations, which I haven't been able to go to, but definitely something I want to do in the future.
Yeah, wonderful. And so we've just got a few more minutes left, and we've got a few more questions. So when you're thinking about your journey to Hamilton, what was a piece of advice you wish you had had when you started your journey here?
I can take that. I can start this one. For me, it would definitely be 100% true to yourself at all times. One thing I realized here throughout the years is that international students really have something very special going on. You have to be a a very special kind of person to, leave your family, leave friends, leave everything and take your journey here by yourself and sort of establish a new life. It's basically a new life. After 4 years here, I'm a completely different person than what I was when I first came here. And sometimes it can be a little challenging being around people who are, just different from you. A lot of the students here, they can go back on the weekend and see their families, and a lot of the students here, they still talk to the same people they knew from high school. So you need to understand that here, you're they're not as outside of their comfort zone as you are, and you have to understand that the only way to have a successful experience is to be true to yourself at all times and let people adjust around you rather than you adjust yourself to the people here. Because yeah, for me, it was really eye-opening to see how international students, we're here trying to figure out who we want to be just as much as anyone else, but international students I found to be so much more resilient and so much they're just so much tougher because of everything they've had to do to put themselves in this situation. So for me, definitely always be true to yourself. Do not let anything change you here.
I agree 100% with what Yassine said. Definitely inserting yourself in a new culture will make you want to change some things about yourself just because you may like feel like you don't completely fit in this new context. But that is part of who you are. That is part of your identity, and changing it just because everyone around you is doing something different, it's definitely not worth it. To that, I would also add, allow yourself to feel homesick. Sometimes, you know, you're in this great place, you're in Hamilton. For me, it was a dream come true. And sometimes I would feel very lonely, and I would feel I would miss my home country and my parents a lot. And I would punish myself for it because I'd be like, I'm here in this great place. Why am I not always grateful for it? Um, and it happens because, you know, you are in this new environment, you are in this complete new country, um, and you have the right to feel like you miss home sometimes, and that's completely fine, and that doesn't make you ungrateful or doesn't make you any less great, you know. So allow yourself to feel and allow yourself to also build a home in a community here as well.
Those are really great answers. I just want to share that. They just really spoke to me as well. So our last question I'd like to pose, and it'll be for all three of you, is why did you choose Hamilton? We'll start with Dr. Benike.
I chose Hamilton because I wanted a different experience. You will hear from me throughout your time here that there's no growth in comfort. And I was very comfortable for 20 years at my former institution where I worked, did the same thing that I'm doing here, working with international students, but in a different setting. It was at a 2-year college, a much larger school in the city. So things that I miss here, I had then, and I had 20 years of it. But I realized that my experience was limited to a big city and to a 2-year college. And considering that most of my students will transfer to a 4-year university like Hamilton, I felt like I was lacking the experience. So even though when I came here, I realized that as beautiful as this place it is, and it's absolutely stunning in the summertime, I knew that it was a departure from what I was familiar with. It's very small. Not many people look like me. Nobody speaks my language. I don't even know anyone in this area that's from Nigeria, where I'm from. But in spite of that, I chose to make myself a little uncomfortable. And I can tell you that 2 years into this journey, I'm glad I made that decision, you know, because I realized I was very comfortable in the situation I was in before. And now I'm a little uncomfortable. I'm learning new things. I'm learning a lot about seeing cows everywhere. I'm learning a lot about hockey. I've never been to a hockey game till I came here. I'm learning about this freezing weather and seeing the beauty in the snow. It snowed today, and I knew it was going to snow, but I got out of my house and it's absolutely beautiful. If you can get past the cold, it is just get your camera out. It is beautiful. And we don't get to see that a lot in the cities where by the time you wake up, everything is gone. You know, they've plowed the snow. And while we plow the snow on campus, so you can still see the snow on the trees, it's just picture perfect. You know, so I chose the experience because I wanted to grow. And again, you'll hear me say it a lot to you that there's no growth in comfort. So I'm looking forward to having you here and to experience everything that the students talk about, especially the homesickness. And I love what Renata said about allowing yourself to feel that. It's important, feel it, you know, and also be open-minded with new experiences. You know, you get to meet new people, and by the time you graduate and you get into the position where Yasin is right now, you look back and see how much you've grown, and how much you're able to exist in the global world.
I'd say I chose Hamilton because it was a place where I felt the most connection with the people. I think Hamilton is its people, and it started off at first. My only connection was really the admissions team, and for me, someone I'll never forget about in my uh, Hamilton experience was Anna Wise. Anna Wise, and she's in charge of international admissions. I remember the first time I did my interview with her before I came here, and then I remember the first time I met her as soon as I came to campus. Um, and I came here during COVID, and it was winter, and she made sure everything was fine when I came to campus. And then you fast forward 4 years, and she's inviting my mom to see her at graduation and stay with her. And for me, those connections are just invaluable. And Hamilton is really is the people. So that's definitely why I chose Hamilton.
I agree with everything everyone has said. I think for me personally, the moment I decided I wanted to apply early decision to Hamilton was right after my personal interview. I remember having such a great time in a college interview. Like I thoroughly enjoyed it. And I had this like personal connection with the interviewer. And then I received a really nice note in the mail back home in my home in Chile mentioning the interview. And it was like, oh wow, this school actually cares about me, sees me as more than a number, knows who I am, and has and it's just like really nice with me. And they would send me things over the mail. That would be the only college would do that. And of course, it's not just because of the mail that I applied to Hamilton, but things like that, things like sending letters all the way from America to Chile, that say something to you, because there's clearly a lot of intent behind them. There's a lot of work and there's um, a lot of gentleness as well. Of course, we don't really get to visit campus as international students. I had heard the campus was beautiful, but all I could do was like just walk around it in Google Maps. So I didn't really get that campus experience, but I did get that community feel right off the bat, right after my interview. Then I did like a virtual tour as well, and just like having interactions with different members of the faculty convinced me that this was a school that cared about me, and school where I could also explore all my different interests and have a great time. And it has definitely lived up to it. Community here is amazing. Professors know your name, they know who you are. You say hi to everyone down in Martin's Way, which is the main road that just like covers the entire campus. And overall, to just feel like people know you, they know who you are, and they appreciate you as you are, which I feel is incredible for an international student coming thousands of kilometers away.
Well, thank you all. I loved those answers at the end. Unfortunately, that is all the time we had. I know we ran a little bit over, but thank you all so much, especially Dr. Benike, Raina, and Yassine. I am going to share our emails, so including Dr. Anna Weiss's, Raina and Yassine, if you would like to, if you're okay, I would share yours. Just want to make sure you're comfortable with that. But again, congratulations to all of you. And I know we didn't get to every question. If you have, there were some questions about the I-20 and the visa process. I believe Dr. Benike's office will be in touch and you can reach out to them. But thank you all and congratulations. And here's hoping that we get to see you on the Hill this summer. So thank you for joining us. And if you have any further questions, please feel free to reach out to us via email. And have a great rest of your day, evening, wherever you're tuning in from. And again, congratulations and welcome to Hamilton. Thank you. Bye.